Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. When we think of ancient Egypt, what comes to mind? Towering pyramids, golden pharaohs, and mystical gods, right? But beyond the splendor and the sacred texts, there was a complex society with real people, real problems, and, you guessed it, real crime. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the world of justice in ancient Egypt. We'll explore how they maintained law and order, what happened when you broke the rules, and dive into one of the most shocking criminal cases in all of ancient history. So, grab your virtual torch and let's descend into the tombs of Egyptian law. First things first, let's debunk a common myth. Justice wasn't just the whimsical decree of an all-powerful pharaoh. While the king was the ultimate source of law, believed to uphold the divine principle of truth, balance, and order, he couldn't be everywhere at once. Egypt had a surprisingly sophisticated judicial system. The day-to-day administration of justice was handled by a network of officials and courts. The most important figure was the vizier, the pharaoh's right-hand man, who acted as the chief justice of the entire land. Think of him as the prime minister and Supreme Court judge rolled into one. Local courts, known as kenbets, were spread throughout the towns and villages. These were usually composed of respected community members, priests, and local officials. They heard a wide range of cases, from property disputes and theft to more serious assaults. Interestingly, there weren't really lawyers in the modern sense. Individuals had to represent themselves. They would present their case, call witnesses, and provide whatever evidence they could muster. Oaths were taken very seriously. Lying under oath to the gods was a grave offense, believed to bring divine punishment not just on you, but on your entire family. So, who enforced the law? Who were the ancient beat cops? This role was often filled by a group known as the Medjay. Originally an elite paramilitary police force, they were responsible for protecting valuable areas like royal tombs in the Valley of the Kings and state borders. They also acted as guards, trackers, and general peacekeepers. In the cities and towns, local officials and sometimes even soldiers would handle policing duties. Their job was to investigate crimes, apprehend suspects, and bring them before the kenbet for judgment. Evidence might include witness testimony, written contracts, and, in some cases, even confessions. Now, getting a confession could be a brutal business. While the system aimed for justice, their methods for interrogation weren't exactly gentle. The beat, or bastinado, which involved striking the soles of a suspect's feet with a rod, was a common method to extract a confession. The logic, however flawed, was that an innocent person would endure the pain to maintain their innocence, while a guilty person would confess to make it stop. These confessions were meticulously recorded by scribes, who were the official court reporters of their day. Every word mattered. The punishments varied greatly depending on the crime and the social status of the perpetrator. For minor offenses like petty theft, the punishment might be a fine, the confiscation of property, or a certain number of lashes. For more serious crimes, the penalties were severe. Mutilation was a common sentence. A corrupt official might have their hands cut off, while someone convicted of perjury could have their nose and ears removed. This served not only as a punishment, but as a permanent public mark of their crime. Hard labor in the mines, or quarries, was another dreaded fate, essentially a death sentence due to the brutal conditions. The ultimate penalty, of course, was execution. This was reserved for the most heinous crimes, like tomb robbing or murder. Tomb robbing was considered especially vile because it desecrated the sacred resting place of the dead and disturbed their journey to the afterlife. Methods of execution could be incredibly harsh, including drowning in the Nile, being burned alive, or impalement on a stake, a gruesome public spectacle designed to deter others. The goal was always to restore Mrat, to rebalance the cosmic order that the crime had disrupted. Now, let us turn to a case that shook the Egyptian empire to its core, the harem conspiracy against Pharaoh Ramesses III. This wasn't a simple street crime. It was high treason, an audacious plot to murder the living god king himself. Ramesses III was one of the last great pharaohs of the New Kingdom. He had fought off foreign invaders and ruled for over 30 years. But trouble was brewing within the walls of his own palace. The mastermind behind the plot was one of his secondary wives, Queen Tai. Her motive, ambition. She wanted her son, Pentuer, to inherit the throne instead of Ramesses' chosen heir. She wasn't alone. She gathered a circle of conspirators from the highest echelons of Egyptian society, courtiers, high-ranking officials, army commanders, and even magicians from the royal harem. The plan was multifaceted and sinister. They intended to use black magic, creating wax figurines of the pharaoh and his guards to curse them and weaken their defenses, while simultaneously planning a direct physical assault to assassinate him during a festival. The plot was discovered just in time, but the details of how remain unclear. What is clear is that once the conspiracy was exposed, the state's reaction was swift and decisive. Ramesses III, possibly already injured in the attempt, immediately commissioned a special court of 12 senior officials to try the conspirators. The surviving court documents, known as the Judicial Papyrus of Turin, give us an incredible, blow-by-blow account of the trial. They are some of the most detailed legal records we have from the ancient world. The papyrus lists the names of the accused, their crimes, and their sentences. The conspirators were divided into several groups. The first group, the most senior plotters, were found guilty and condemned to take their own lives. This was considered a more honorable death, allowing them to avoid the humiliation of public execution. Among them was Queen Tai's son, Pentuer. The papyrus starkly states he was placed before the officials of the Court of Examination. They found him guilty. They left him where he was. He took his own life. Other conspirators weren't so fortunate. They faced the full, brutal force of state-sanctioned punishment. The records describe their fate as the Great Punishment of Death, likely referring to a gruesome public execution like impalement. The text is chilling in its bureaucratic efficiency. Even some of the judges themselves were implicated. A few of the magistrates appointed to the trial were found to have caroused with the accused women of the harem, a serious breach of conduct. They were judged and punished, with one being forced to take his own life and others suffering mutilation. And what of Ramesses III? The historical record is ambiguous. The papyrus refers to him as the Great God, a term usually reserved for a deceased pharaoh. Modern CT scans of his mummy have revealed a deep, fatal cut across his throat, hidden for millennia by the embalmer's bandages. It seems the assassins succeeded after all. Though the conspiracy was crushed and the plotters brought to justice, they likely managed to mortally wound the king. His chosen heir, Ramesses IV, took the throne and oversaw the final stages of the trial, ensuring that his father's justice was carried out from beyond the grave. This single case reveals so much about the Egyptian legal system. It shows a process that, while capable of brutality, was also methodical and based on investigation and evidence. Scribes recorded everything, creating a paper trail that has allowed us, 3,000 years later, to reconstruct this dramatic event. It demonstrates that no one, not even a queen or a high court judge, was above the law. The preservation of Matt and the stability of the state were paramount. The harem conspiracy is a stark reminder that behind the serene golden masks and hieroglyphic reliefs, the world of the pharaohs was filled with very human drama, ambition, and a relentless pursuit of justice. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into crime and punishment in ancient Egypt. It's a fascinating subject that shows us a different side of this incredible civilization. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next journey into the past. Let me know in the comments what other aspects of ancient life you'd like to explore. Until next time, stay curious.